Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
WWE has undergone a lot of changes under Triple H's reign as the company's chief content officer. Long title runs, lengthy storylines, and a greater emphasis on the in-ring action have been the hallmarks of the game's tenure at the helm. But apart from the creative aspects of the industry, there has been one big shift in the way the pro wrestling juggernaut operates these days. Randy Orton was the most recent guest on Stephanie McMahon's What's Your Story? Podcast. The Viper opened up about his physical and mental health and also discussed his infamous 2009 storyline involving Stephanie during the show. The conversation then pivoted to how WWE stars have a more relaxed schedule under Triple H, and things not being as strict as they used to be. Orton brought up a conversation he had with Triple H about how the schedule is a lot more talent-friendly. "I was just talking to Hunter yesterday about, I think I mentioned to him how our schedule's gotten a lot more talent-friendly. I know that he wasn't at TV one week, and I was like, where is he? He's at Murphy's, Triple H's daughter, softball game. Just knowing that in the past that never would have happened and knowing that now it's okay. He don't even know it, but he's leading by example," Orton mentioned. 26:15 onwards. Time off for WWE talent, especially the performers at the top, was rare before Triple H took over. While WWE's previous owner, Vince McMahon, did state that stars could get time off when needed, he was known for running a tight ship. However, it seems that things have become more streamlined under the new regime. Orton also mentioned that it is easy for WWE stars to get time off as per their needs, which is a big plus. "There's no question in my mind that if I say, Hunter, Bruce, Pritchard, Nick, Khan, whoever, I've got this thing and we're far enough out. It's not like next week or anything, but it's very important to me and my family and my kids or whatever that I'm there. There's no question in my mind that they'll say done. That is huge," he added. WWE stars have been given this weekend off for the July 4th holiday, as SmackDown was taped on Monday. Limited time off was one of the most grueling parts of the wrestling business, but that now seems to be changing under the cerebral assassin. Triple H increased WWE stars' vacation time in December. In 2023, Triple H ensured that the roster had a full week off during the Christmas holiday week, which was rarely the case before. He followed it up last year by taping 2 shows each on December 13th, SmackDown, and December 16th, REW, giving wrestlers more time to spend with their families during the holiday period. Former WWE host and analyst Matt Camp has also noted that WWE personnel have been enjoying a better quality of life thanks to the game. Camp mentioned that Triple H wants to be a husband and wants to see his kids, so he understands the importance of allowing the company's employees to do the same. Given the grueling work schedule that they had to go through earlier, the CCO's decision to offer timely breaks is likely to have been well received by the locker room and other employees. Randy Orton sat in the dimly lit backstage area of an arena in Houston, Texas, his gear bag open and his boots half-laced. The soft hum of production crates being rolled down concrete hallways echoed faintly behind him, but his mind was elsewhere, back to the days when the locker room looked very different, and the man in charge wasn't Triple H. For years, Orton had been a constant. From the brash legend killer to the methodical apex predator, he had survived eras, injuries, and shifting tides. But this new regime under Triple H, had brought a change so profound that even Orton, who prided himself on adapting to survive, felt compelled to speak about it. He leaned back against the cold wall, taking a moment to look around. Young superstars passed by, nodding respectfully. He saw talent from NXT mixing easily with main roster veterans, a sight that would have seemed impossible just 5 years ago. "It's night and day," Orton said in a recent sit-down with WWE Digital, his gravelly voice softened by the sincerity behind his words. "I've seen a lot in this company. I've seen different people pull the strings, make the calls. But when Hunter took over, I'll be honest, even I didn't realize how big of a shift it would be." When Vince McMahon retired, or rather, when the rumors and headlines forced the unthinkable, Triple H stepped in as chief content officer. For many, the change felt like an evolution. For Orton, it felt like closing one chapter and opening another. "I came up under Triple H, in a way," Orton reflected, a slight grin crossing his face as he adjusted the ice pack strap to his shoulder. "Evolution, the faction, it wasn't just a name. I was a kid surrounded by Ric Flair, Batista, and Hunter. He taught me what it meant to carry yourself like a main eventer. Now, he's teaching this entire company what it means to evolve." Under Triple H, the shift was palpable. Raw and SmackDown had become more unpredictable, promos felt more authentic, and there was an emphasis on in-ring storytelling that reminded fans why they fell in love with WWE in the first place. The word wrestling, once taboo in the halls of Titan Towers, was now spoken freely. "It's crazy, man," Orton continued. "There was a time when you'd get told exactly what to say, how to say it, and if you missed a word, you'd hear about it. Now? Hunter wants you to find your voice. He wants you to sink or swim with your own instincts. That freedom, that's massive for us." Orton, who had been sidelined with a career-threatening back injury for over a year, admitted that the uncertainty of his return was eased by knowing who was at the helm. "When I was out, Hunter checked in. Not just about when I'd be back, but how I was. How my kids were. He does that for everyone, and people feel it. Morale is better than I've ever seen it." He paused, tying the final knot on his boots. He flexed his toes, testing the snug fit. "Don't get me wrong. Vince built this. I owe him a lot. But even he'd tell you this business has to adapt. And Hunter, he's the right guy for that." One of the biggest changes Orton pointed to was the emphasis on long-term storytelling. Feuds now stretched months, even a year or more, with layered narratives that respected the intelligence of the fans. "You look at what they did with the Bloodline," Orton said, his eyes narrowing as if he was replaying the saga in his mind. "That's a masterclass. Roman, Jay, Jimmy, Solo, Heyman, every week there's another piece to the puzzle. Hunter believes in letting things breathe, letting stories grow. The fans deserve that." For someone like Orton, who'd had his share of rushed rivalries and start-stop pushes over the decades, the respect for storytelling meant the world. He teased that his own comeback story was far from over. "I've still got venom in me," he said with a smirk. "I'm not done. And under Hunter, I get to remind everyone exactly who I am. There's talk about me going after that world title again. And I'm not saying it won't happen." Beyond creative freedom, Orton spoke candidly about how Triple H's regime had changed the backstage culture. The days of fear and paranoia, whispers of who was getting heat with the boss, had eased into a more collaborative environment. "Look, wrestling will always be cutthroat to a degree. It's competition, and it should be. But people aren't walking on eggshells anymore," Orton explained. "You can pitch an idea and not worry that you're stepping out of line. Talent feels heard. That's a big deal." As a veteran, Orton found himself stepping into a new role, almost reluctantly, that of mentor. The younger stars would seek him out, asking for advice, ring psychology tips, or simply to listen. Under Triple H's leadership, Orton had embraced it. "I used to think it wasn't my job," he confessed. "Like, I did my time, I took my lumps, now it's your turn, kid. But seeing how Hunter lifts people up, you realize you should pass it on. I'm proud to help the next guy find that extra gear." Outside the arena, the line of fans waiting for the show to start stretched around the block. Orton knew many of them had grown up with him, watching him punt legends, RKO unsuspecting opponents out of nowhere, and reinvent himself time and time again. "I owe them everything," he said quietly. "So if this new era means giving them more reasons to care, more reasons to tune in, then I'm all for it." As the production assistant knocked on the door, reminding him he had 10 minutes until he was needed at Gorilla, Orton stood up, rolling his shoulders back, feeling the familiar crack of old bones settling in for battle. He grabbed his leather jacket, the same one he'd worn countless times, yet somehow it felt new under these bright lights. He smiled, knowing that under Triple H's vision, his legacy was safe, but far from finished. "It's a good time to be in this business," he said, turning to leave. "It's a damn good time to be Randy Orton." And with that, the Viper walked down the hallway, ready to strike, ready to evolve, just like the company he'd helped define for over 20 years.